What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Johnny Mack here. Just wanted to give you a heads up that if you are looking for a community that is open to discussion as far as mentorship, conservation, the wild, becoming a better person, and all of that, there is a group for you on Facebook, and it is called Soul Seekers. Soul Seekers, we are all about making ourselves a better person. We're all about making sure hunting lasts for generations to come and encouraging people to get plugged in. Whether you are someone who has something to give or someone who needs to soak it up like a sponge, this is a community for you, and I strongly encourage you that if you're on Facebook to join Soul Seekers, and if you're not on Facebook, hop on there just for that group. It is only going to be as powerful as we all make it. And so just remember that life happens for you, it doesn't happen to you, and that you can't outgive good. You can't outgive good, people. I want you to understand that, and I want you to believe it, because when we believe that and we lead with courage and we lead with intention, lives are changed, lives are transformed, just like on this podcast, transformation through primal adventure. Be blessed. Enjoy this episode. Talk soon. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Soulful Hunter Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Mack. Through this podcast, I'm on a mission to transform lives through primal adventure and to spread my mission of mentorship as conservation. This podcast is powered by Washington Backcountry, a resource for all hunters, both new and old. To find out more about Washington Backcountry, go to wabackcountry.com or search for Washington Backcountry on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The Soulful Hunter Podcast is also proudly presented by the Crazy Elk Company. Based out of the state of Washington with products made in America, they are providing solutions with gear to problems you didn't even know you had. Their tag wallet is one of those solutions, and I had the pleasure of using it on all of my hunts this last year, and it is now a mainstay in my kill kit. The tag wallet is a water-resistant zippered pouch that comes with its own reusable zip ties to safely and securely store your notch tag for quick and easy access. For more information, go to crazyelkcompany.com and use the code SOULFUL with a capital S to save 20% at checkout. Be blessed, everyone, and as always, stay soulful.
But you said you're not sold on that yet, right?
I'm not sold on anything. I don't know what I don't know. It goes back to a great saying where I know it because I lived it.
Yeah,
You know, it's like if you didn't live it, you don't have experiences, you ain't got jack.
I agree.
Right? All you have is an opinion or a regurgitation of somebody else's
Sure.
opinion or perspective or whatever. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Soulful Hunter Podcast. I'm joined by the man himself, the no longer silent Iron Will Weber here, guest hosting tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. And I want to first off thank all of you for being supporters of this and just following along. You know, at the end of the day, I always talk about mentorship as conservation and hunting has a power to transform lives through primal adventure. You can't outgive good. All these like catchphrases. But at the end of the day, I do this because I love to give and I love to share my experiences, which goes back to that whole thing where it's like, well, either you have an opinion or a perspective, and perspectives come from experiences. And so I ain't gonna fake the funk on you anymore.
Don't do
this
it.
Is
we believe it all too, though.
I don't know.
We believe it. We live it. We preach it.
I want to give a little shout out real quick before we dive into the topic of this podcast, and that is to Crazy Elk Company. If you guys have not actually checked out Crazy Elk Company and the tag wallet and everything that they offer, the tag wallet's a great little thing to add to your bino harness, your kill kit. A great way to make sure you secure your tag to your animal this coming hunting season. Save 20% by using the code SOULFUL with capital S at checkout. And I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Also, for those of you who live in states with electronic tags, He also makes an electronic tag wallet for those peeps.
Awesome.
Yeah, digital.
We love it.
I love to live analog in a digital world.
There we go.
Right.
I got a father-in-law who always used to do that with his best bud. He called it analog time.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, we're getting real. We're getting soulful on
There
the
we
Soulful Hunter. All right, everybody. So go check out Crazy Elk Company. And right now, we're going to do a little recap of the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo in Salt Lake City, where Will Weber had his very first experience about what the mecca of Western hunting is all about.
It is the mecca.
Will, bro, what did I say to you in preparation for this? As far as like,
You're gonna love it.
and
Oh, man. See, it was real interesting for me because I was not down there. I mean, I did some consuming, but I was not down there as a consumer.
right,
I was down there a little bit behind the scenes.
yeah,
You were presenting a couple of Bear 101 seminars with Jana Waller.
which went great, by the way. I thought
Went phenomenal.
And if you are listening to this podcast and you were at that seminar, hopefully you share the same sentiment.
Yeah, yeah. And if you had any other questions, reach back out to us, hit us up.
I just got an email yesterday from someone who was at the seminar.
They were really good.
Yeah,
I learned some stuff too.
dude, I learned stuff.
All
Learning
the
every
time.
day.
We love hunting bears, man.
Dude, I'm a bear hunter.
You are.
Rawr.
Spirit animal.
Dude, spirit animal.
But no, the expo was unreal. I fanboyed a lot when I was down there, dude. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I got to meet some awesome people. I mean, these are guys that, for me being new, second year hunting?
This is your third,
Going into
this is
my
your
third year
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So the Hunt Expo kicked off my third year of hunting, and everything I've watched, be it YouTube, be it shows on Carbon TV, be it Sportsman's Channel or whatever, these guys you see, you know that they live in a neighboring state or something, but you don't think that you're actually going to just come across these guys and say hi to them.
Yeah.
But I met tons of guys.
Yeah.
Jana Waller, Remy Warren. I mean, and the connections alone that I got to make down there with some of the people that you introduced me to, or just people that we randomly bumped into and started conversation at the dinners and stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of cool opportunities coming up this year for Washington Backcountry, and really excited for it.
Yeah, dude, good stuff all around. I gotta say, for anyone who's never been to the Hunt Expo, go check it out. Go fly yourself or drive down to Salt Lake City, get yourself a hotel room, and take it all in because it's overwhelming.
There's a lot there, a lot.
And I would highly recommend purchase a dinner ticket for one of the
Yes.
auctions.
Yes.
What did you think of that, man? The highest auction item went for $400,000. Mule deer hunt in Arizona.
And there were multiple hunts that went over 300 grand. Mind blown.
Man, just dropping bombs on a hunt like that.
I want to get to know some of those people.
Yeah, I want to be friends with them.
I just want to go on the hunt with them. I don't even need to shoot anything.
Right. I want to know what people do to have that type of cash.
They own businesses.
Multiple.
Probably. Yeah. They've stacked some cash. The cheddar.
The cheese, the big cheese. I'm going to have to get myself a business license and just really own businesses and be like, yeah, I own a couple businesses.
What do you want to do? I don't know. I just own businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you went down to the Hunt Expo. You got to experience the auctions.
The auctions are super cool. Like, I've been to auctions before, so there's you can go to an auction and experience that environment and auctioneers and stuff like that, but dude, nothing like that. I mean, this was
John Bear.
Yeah. That dude's hilarious, man.
Awesome.
He's phenomenal though.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. He does a great job engaging the crowd. I mean, listen, those hunts ain't going for 400 grand just because.
Just because it's up for auction.
Right.
He's pulling it out of
He's
people.
pulling that out of people, right? So, very inspiring. Lots of people there at those dinners,
Mm-hmm.
and it's fast paced.
Yes.
You're meeting a lot of people, having a lot of conversations. They got all sorts of sidebar things going on with raffles and silent auction type stuff,
Uh-huh.
and then all of a sudden the auction kicks off, and it's just you got flaggers everywhere, just yep, just calling people and
Right.
bidding wars, and it's
I'll tell you,
pretty cool.
It's really interesting fanboying. I
Oh,
had a fanboy moment.
yeah,
We
you
got
did.
to sit at the same table for dinners with Big Al Morris of
Is that Big Al?
Big Al. Big Al. He's a stud.
Super stud.
When 2 years ago at the last Hunt Expo, I gave a seminar following his,
Mm.
and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's Al Morris." He is single-handedly the one person that when I got into hunting because of coyotes.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get enough of Big Al Morris and
He is
Fox
a
Pro Boys.
cool,
He's a cool dude,
man. He's a cool dude.
Anyway, so it was really fun to be able to sit down at dinner and share some of that. Will, the other thing, which we have already released this podcast, but we only got to go to OSS Huxworks Suppressor Safety Company because of Big Al. That was an introduction
Yeah.
from Big Al Morris.
Yeah. We got to go the first day we flew in Wednesday night, got situated. Thursday, kind of opening day, that's kind of your day if you are a little bit behind the scenes or you got a booth or something like that, that's kind of the day for the industry themselves to get around and chat and catch up with people before the consumers come in and take over the floor. But, yeah, you got a phone call from Jeff Davis over at Huxworks OSS Suppressors, and he said, why don't you guys come on down and we'll show you the facility, maybe trial run some suppressors, shoot some guns.
Yeah. I feel like this is the perfect example of no one is ever going to tell you yes if you never ask, right? It's a girl's never going to say yes to go out with you if you never ask her on a date,
Mm-hmm.
right? Why are we so bravado and ego in so many aspects of our life, but when
Sure.
we're standing across from the girl that we think is the most attractive
Yeah.
or something that we really want,
What's really the worst that's going to happen?
and this goes with the hunting, right? Tying it into hunting is like, you want to learn how to hunt, you want to get connected, put yourself out there.
And that's vulnerability.
Yes.
Been talking about it pretty much every episode I've been on with you about my journey. This was just another culmination of that and just a finalization of, the vulnerability that I've tried to put out there of myself, putting myself in uncomfortable situations, sidebar conversations while I'm at the expo with people who I don't know, but just trying to engage, just trying to build community. And there's really no greater tool that you have than putting yourself out there.
Right. Which putting yourself out there also means having yourself collected.
Yes.
Knowing what you want, right? We talk about this on the podcast all the time. What do you want? What do you want? 2 years ago when I went to the Hunt Expo for the very first time, one of the feedback items that I got from people is like, wow, your elevator pitch is dialed in. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize that's how I present myself.
Got a great radio voice.
You got a face for radio. But going into that, and here you are, newer to hunting.
Yeah.
You're there. This was like your stepping on the scene of
It was
an introduction, right? Did you feel like you kind of had to dial yourself in?
Yeah, I had to find some rhythm. I had to get in the groove. The first day, I get introduced, say hi, normal talking points for introduction conversations.
Right.
But by Friday, and into Saturday, I felt like I was in a groove where it was like, I know you did a couple podcasts while we were down there, and I'm not just going to hang out and
Loiter.
loiter.
I love that word.
So I went and visited some of the booths of people that maybe I was introduced to, maybe I wasn't introduced to, but I went and had further conversations with those guys. Also welcoming, and honestly was a good building tool for me. Like, I grew again while I was down there.
Yes. Yeah. You can't outgive good.
You really can't.
And the issue is, and this is going back to the selfish nature of humanity,
Mm-hmm.
is that everyone, that's a relative term, a majority of mankind leads with selfish intent
100%.
in
I believe
everything
that.
that they do.
Yeah.
And I understand self-preservation. We get that.
Yeah.
We acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to things that you want, you also got to think about what you can give.
Agree.
Right? Because if this world is all about the flow of energy, currents, like just like a river has a current,
Sure.
the ocean has a current. That's why we call money currency.
Yes.
There's a flow to it. It's a transaction. One receives, one gives, vice versa. And so with that being said, is like for all you new hunters that want to get plugged in, that want to get dialed in, it's like, what else can you give?
Yeah.
And a lot of times I love hearing the guys that they're like, hey, I just want to come along. I'll be a pack animal for you.
Sure.
Like, just, I think that's awesome.
That is great.
That's they're giving their time. They're giving their energy. They're giving what they have. Going back to like the concept of the Bible, right? It's like you're given a gift, and do you take that gift and that talent and bury it in the ground because you don't want it to get wasted?
Right.
Or do you take that gift and that talent and give it away and multiply it?
Right.
And if you don't know what your gifts and your talents are, and you don't know what you want, then you're drowning in this world.
And I do believe a little bit too, though, that some people, I feel that potential and what people do have to offer, sometimes it takes that vulnerability and putting yourself out there to realize that in yourself what you have to offer.
I've learned that this world is a mirror.
It is.
What we see is just the reflection of ourselves.
Yeah.
This world sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, well, are you sucking?
Right.
Dude, this is awesome.
It is awesome.
Are you living with that awesome attitude?
Yeah.
Like, that's how, going down to the Hunt Expo, it's like, okay, we were there for business. We were there for pleasure. We were there with intent.
We were.
And at the same time, it's not all about what can they do for us.
Not at all.
What can they do for us? What can we do for you guys?
And I do think that we led with that. I think we both fell into that when we were down there. What can we do for these people who, honestly, I mean, we were down there with several, companies we've already done stuff with, and they've supported us, and thinking about how we can further support them and whatnot. You're a culmination of the people you surround yourself with, and we like to surround ourselves with good people.
Yeah, and not trying to blow smoke and toot our own horns, right? And I want this world to be a better place. I want my life to be better. I want to thrive. I don't just want to survive. And so everything is done with intent.
Yeah,
with purpose.
We do love people. We love people.
Yeah. Inspired people.
Yes.
Inspire people, and loved people love people.
Agree.
Let me say that again. Loved people love people. So, just like on an airline, put your oxygen mask on yourself first before you take care of your other people. You got to love yourself.
100%.
You have to receive the love of yourself and receive the love of others, rather than like stonewalling people.
Yeah.
No, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. No, that's, I can't take a compliment. No, I'm like, no, just like drop the ego.
Yeah. Be humble.
Be
Authenticity is big. Just be.
Yeah. And what I learned at the Hunt Expo 2 years ago, and I kind of prefaced this for you, but I didn't want to spoil anything. I want you to have your own ideas and concepts, right? Without me rooting anything in your mind. But there is a difference between what I would call there are people down there with the egos, like the Instagram
100%.
followers of like,
Yeah.
I have this many eyeballs upon me.
Mhm.
And this isn't meant to be a judgment statement. It's meant to be an acknowledgement statement. Find your crowd. Find
Yeah.
what works for you,
Yeah.
and then go out and get it and
Yeah,
knock it out of the park.
Yeah, there is nothing wrong with those, with the different groups that are down. There's nothing wrong. Whatever suits your fancy and whatever is your people, be your people.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that. But definitely surround yourself with the people that are best. Like you say, it's a mirror, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a toot and a horn or anything. I just think that we tend to, surround ourselves and get drawn and attracted to people who are more like us.
Soulful.
Yeah, man. Loving, caring.
Yes.
In touch, authentic. That's who I was drawn to while we were down there.
Man.
And you can feel it. I will tell you that. You can feel it. You know when you are around people you want to be around, and you know when you're not in your crowd.
You know what I've always gauged my man, I crack myself up. I'm laughing just thinking about this. I told you this while we were in Salt Lake City, but one of the things I feel like is the downfall of humanity is when they all cars became electronic locks and remote locks.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, because when I used to date girls,
you have to reach over.
I would unlock their door,
yeah,
and then let them in.
Mm-hmm.
And if they just sat there and didn't lean across and unlock my door,
yeah,
I was like, okay, well, it was a judgment snap decision call. I'm like, okay, they're only thinking about themselves.
Sure,
they're not thinking about the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
And so typically, and I would say I did not marry any of those girls, so
yeah,
it didn't work out. But but that goes into this whole idea of like what you can do for others. And I just totally lost my train of thought right there. Man, I was on a good
It'll
one.
come back to you.
Dang. Guys, what did that have to do? I was talking about unlocking.
Well, you're talking about,
Jeez
being
Louise.
no, you were talking about being a reflection, like the reflection of the character, or like a tell of the character. Like you reach across, you go and unlock her door first. Like you would use things like that as a sign.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Will just brought me back. Silent Will is no longer silent, everybody. Give it a Okay, so this is how I gauge things now. Now
Yes.
that we can't do the electronic locks,
Yeah.
now I gauge things where when I engage in a conversation with somebody, if they don't ask me questions about myself, that's how I eyeball every conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
They're
same.
very me mentality.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's the whole unlocking the car door.
Yep.
So when I start a conversation with somebody and I'm intentional and I'm pulling questions out, because what I do know about humanity is that they love to talk about themselves.
Yeah, they do.
You give somebody opportunity to talk about
Give
themselves.
them a mic and a
Yeah.
crowd, and
Yeah, now they'll be like, oh, I can't talk on a mic in front of a crowd, but
yeah, sure.
you give them an opportunity and all of a sudden,
Start that engine.
yeah. So when I go into conversations with people, if these people are not people that ever ask me a question about myself,
Wow,
I'm like, okay, it's not really my person.
that makes sense.
It's not really my community.
Mhm.
Not saying they're a bad person. I'm just saying this is a one-way street.
Yeah.
And I like to drive on two ways.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, you're soulful, man.
You ever thought about anything like that?
It's interesting thinking about that. Like I think about our interactions, yours and mine,
Mm-hmm.
and our interactions since we've known each other, and when I mean, just in that moment there, you talking about that, I'm thinking about like, yeah, when Johnny talks to me, he's always leading like his portion of the conversation with, "How are you? How's your day going? How can I help you? What can I do to support you?" Like you ask me that all the time. And I've realized that over the last while that we've really connected, I have turned into the wanting to know more about your circumstances and what's going on with you. So I find myself asking you questions now all the time, like not just being and having a conversation. I find myself like, yeah, being that person, and not just for you. I find that in my everyday, like starting to ask those questions to people and not being a me person.
It's really
It's interesting.
it's very interesting.
Yes.
And great job, by the way.
And
but
like,
look how much stronger our relationship is.
Yeah.
Now because of it as
well,
well.
but like talking about the door locks, I mean, this seems crazy, but see, when I first started dating my wife 16 years ago, high school, she had a 2-door manual lock, manual transmission Ford Ranger, cowgirl. Okay, she was
barrel racer.
She was a barrel racer. You know it.
Got to watch out for them.
Woo. But come to think of it, I used to unlock her door for her, and before I got to the other side, my door was popped.
Yeah, and that's why she's marriage material.
That's why she's still around.
Yeah. If that just proves it right there. I don't know. I don't have any other anecdotal evidence other than those experiences.
No coincidences.
There's no coincidences. If we could do 3 in a row, then it'd set a trend. And then we'd be like, okay, well, there you go. And then if this was science, you could replicate it and then see if you get the exact same scenarios. Okay, so Will, Hunt Expo.
Yep.
If you are a hunter,
Mm-hmm.
no matter whether you're a new hunter or an old hunter, is it an experience that you believe, and we don't like to shit on people, but feel free to say.
I think that this is an experience that new hunter, old hunter, thinking about hunting must attend.
Yeah. It's that.
It's
awesome.
life-changing.
It's awesome. And go there with an open book.
Yeah.
Go sit in some seminars.
Don't go there with any preconceived notions about either A, what it's going to be, B, who is going to be there, C, what the people are going to be like, because I would say, all in all, for me, it was a very humble experience.
Mm-hmm.
People were very genuine. And it's a small industry.
Oh, it's so small. So small.
It's a small industry. It's not as... It's the mecca, and it seems huge, but it really ain't once you get down there, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's the bee's knees, man.
Speaking of small industry, this is a total side note right here. Raylene Proto from Detali Outdoors.
Yeah. Well, this just is proof of...
Amazing human.
She is an amazing human.
She came up to our December 11th event.
And I just want to reach out and say I'm not sure how her dad is doing right now. I haven't spoke to her, but...
he passed away yesterday.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, that was one of the things that saying, like, the community and the connections you make.
Yeah.
The owner of Huxworks Safety Company, formerly OSS Suppressors, was on the board and worked with Raylene.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that. Like, all these spider webs of awesomeness come together. But this shout out to Raylene.
Yeah, Raylene, if you listen to this, you're in our prayers. We love you.
Yeah.
We're thinking about you, and we wish you the absolute best.
Yep. I was actually supposed to record with her last night.
Tough, yeah.
Talked to her in the morning, and then got a text message in the evening, and it's like, oof.
Yeah. And let us know if you need anything.
Absolutely. We're here for you.
Yeah.
We're here for you in multiple ways. So that's a perfect example. It's like this community, everyone knows each other.
Yeah.
Even if you don't think that they know each other.
Yeah. We saw, when we were down at Huxworks, we saw
Hatchet Jane
on their vision wall.
Yeah. 2 of her pictures that she took made it on the Huxworks vision board of what they want
it
their
just
advertising
truly
to
shows
look.
how small of a world it is. I mean, it's like, is that Hatchet Jane over there?
Mm-hmm.
Sure is.
Yeah, it's a wild world.
How do you know her? Yeah, I mean,
she's like a sister.
She's like a sister.
Yeah, she flakes on me all the time. Hatchet, if you are listening to this, you know it's true. All right, so anyways, Will, it's something that people need to really experience.
I do believe they need to.
Yeah. I would agree with that. And with that being said, what are your biggest takeaways from it? Give me top 3.
Top 3 takeaways. Well, in no particular order. The industry is smaller than you think.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big one. The industry is more open than you think. Your opportunity to meet people, put yourself out there, and actually have a connection is just, you might think you're just some average Joe walking in there, random Joe
Mm-hmm.
walking in there,
Random Joe.
random Joe walking in there. You're really not.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be learned down there.
Yes.
Take outside the consumer portion, because you can learn a lot that direction as well, just from going stand to stand and actually looking at products. But I encourage people to jump into the seminars, because they're going on all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Different seminars, different products, and the dinners, the banquets. Definitely get yourselves in there, because you're going to have some fun.
Okay, so, and then let's wrap it up with this. I would agree with that. There was opportunities by going to the Hunt Expo that you cannot apply for other than being at the Hunt Expo.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that, or you want me to nail that?
I'll let you kind of elaborate on it, but yes, they do some special application entry deals for super low cost while you're there. They do, what were they, $5
entries.
$5 entry fees for state tags for Utah for all sorts of different things.
Yeah,
I mean, you could put in for
almost every animal that they have.
every animal, weapon type, everything.
And it's a separate draw
Correct.
than just the standard state draws.
Correct. They do it
So it's a
within 2
smaller
weeks
pool.
after the expo.
Mm-hmm.
Much smaller pool. We did hear something. I don't know if it's factual, but we did hear that potentially out-of-staters have a little bit better odds on some of the draws, only because there's not a ton of out-of-staters, and potentially they do something separate, is what somebody was telling me.
It had something to do with, like, they reserve a certain number of tags for out-of-state people, so it gave them a better.
And I didn't get drawn, but there were several Washington people who got drawn for some tags down there. I saw that.
Yeah.
Including a couple people from Marysville.
I know. Do you know who they are?
Nope, but I'm going to find out, because they're probably my neighbor.
I know. It's like, shout out to Marysville.
Woot woot.
The armpit of Washington.
Yeah, it is, but you know what?
Yeah, I grew up there.
We all have armpits, so
right. I got 2 of them. Anyways. All right, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. A little recap of the Western Hunt Expo. If you want to know more about that and our experiences, feel free to reach out to us. You can look up Iron Will Weber on Instagram. You can also hit us up at Washington Backcountry or Soulful Hunter Podcast. And for all of you who listen to this podcast on a regular basis, if you have any topics or anything you want us to dive into,
questions, anything you want us to touch base on, please send us a message.
Send us. We're gonna be hitting some gear episodes in preparation for spring, whether it be spring turkey, spring bear, and what we're going to be rocking with our gear for this coming year. And we're going to be doing a little what's in your pack. Those are always fun to dive into. Talk about specific types of gear that I like to use and run, what you like to use, Will. Although a lot of stuff that you use are great recommendations that I've personally shared with you from the very beginning.
What's the saying? Buy once, cry once. And you have more experience with that gear. So I would be a fool not to at least take advice and go down that road, and I haven't gotten a bad recommendation yet. So
I know it because I lived it.
Yeah.
There we go. We're going full circle on this episode with the intro all the way to the exit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. You can also go listen to this podcast on YouTube. You guys can go to subscribe to the Washington Backcountry YouTube channel, and all the episodes are up on the YouTube as well, as long as with some other cool hunting content and hunting 101 and all that stuff. Guys, be blessed. Know that life is happening for you, not to you. In the year of 2022, understand that this is a year for you to make it what you want. Freedom on, everybody. I'm Johnny Mack. This is Will Weber. Stay soulful. If you enjoyed today's podcast, I'd love it if you could go ahead and give this a rating as well as subscribe. Also, you can check us out on Instagram under the Soulful Hunter Podcast. Make sure to tag us in pictures and posts and use the hashtag Soulful Hunter. To find out more about the Soulful Hunter Podcast, go to soulfulhunter.com and be sure to follow the podcast as we are going to be bringing you a lot of great information, insight, and changing lives through primal adventure. I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. Stay tuned and stay soulful.